So I go away from the industry and retire and have a smile on my face most days. And lo and behold, Eric Crittenton,
Yeah.
about 3 years ago, calls me out of the blue. And he and I have known each other for a couple decades. He's here in Scottsdale, so am I. He says, Tom, I don't know if you know this, but I'm out of my old firm and I would love to have lunch with you. I've been kicking around a few things. So he sits there and lays out this whole thing about how he's thinking of doing an alternative management fund that can do securities and futures and blend them together. Single manager, multi strategy,
Yeah.
same thing as Trendstat. And he wants to put it inside of a mutual fund, which is so much more sellable than a partnership is. Investment Company Act of 40. Oh my God. I said, Eric, do you know how much that's going to cost? He says, yeah, I do. It's
Yeah.
going to be $400,000 to $500,000 probably in legal expenses. And I said, then you realize you're going to have a team of people. He says, yeah, I think I have an idea who I could get. And then he starts laying out the strategy to me. And I'm blown away. It is brilliant. It is simple. I love it. It has aspects of trend following. It deals very well with large capacity. He can easily manage several billion without
Yeah.
any issues at all. He lays that all out at lunch. The lunch was like 4 hours long. Blown
Hopefully it's a good
away.
spot.
I My adrenaline was flowing. I was so sky high.
You were
Said we
back
got
in
to
the
get
game.
together.
Yeah.
Well, we got to get. No, not at that point. I wasn't. I was still retired. So he starts saying, "Well, let's get together again. I'm going to think about it some more, and you think about it too. Let's get together in a couple of months." So another 3 months goes by. We get another 3 hour lunch, and we talk about it. And now he's got people identified. He's got a little bit more structure to what he thinks he's going to need to pull it off. And I tweaked it a little bit, and I said, Eric, from my standpoint, I think you're being too conservative. I think you this and that, and we hem and haw. And I gave him my grandfatherly advice at that point because I'm getting into my late 60s and he's still a little younger than I am. And he writes that all up and he comes back to me and says, Tom, I'm ready to go. I think I've got all the pieces of the puzzle together. I've got my software under development. I got the people doing the software. I've taken programming myself. I know what markets I'm going to trade. I've done a lot of simulations. I think I'm ready to go. And I said, so how much you got to raise? And he told me the number. I made a few phone calls and inside of, I think it was 5 days, had all of the capital raised for the management company.
There you
Within
go.
about 6, 7 months, they put together the legal on it, which was extensive. It was very expensive. These are lawyers that are going to charge you $300-400 an hour. I mean, it is insanely expensive
At
because
least.
not very many people really understand this stuff. And you got to do offshore corporation to take care of the future side and get it to fit inside the. You got to inside the mutual fund.
Yep.
You got to get your fund managers, your custodians, all that garbage. Oh my gosh, so much legal work. Finally get it together. Finally pull the people together. I've raised the capital. They eat into the capital by $500,000 or so to get the thing off the ground. They've got a budget for the rest of it. Comes time to form the board. Well, I'm on the board. A guy named TK Kellenbeck's on the board, and Eric's on the board. There's three people. Eric and I are pretty darn knowledgeable of investments, you could say.
Yep.
And TK is run the highest level. He's on the board of Cathay Pacific. I mean, he's
Oh
at the
wow.
highest level of boards out there in the world in the airline industry, but
That's
very
got to
good
be a
with
tough
corporate
board
structure.
to have been on the past year. a lot of
No, not really.
lot of
No,
red numbers. Yeah.
no. It turns out
No,
that
of
Stan.
Cathay Pacific, I'm
Oh yeah,
talking.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
oh
with
yeah,
the
absolutely.
pandemic and airlines going
Well,
down.
and Hong Kong is their headquarters.
Yeah, so there's a lot of
Even more
issues there.
interesting. So we have a blast at our board meetings.
And
Work so well together, and management team is so talented, and they're above 50 million now, and we're trying to get together a happy hour to celebrate going over 50 million. But they're beating their expectations on both performance of the fund, the risk versus their sector. we're beating our marketing goals in terms of assets under management.
And
So
we've
everything's
done a
cruising
pod.
along.
We've done a pod with Eric. We'll put it in the show notes.
Standpoint internally is actually taking care of the problem for you.
Right.
It's
It's
beautiful.
like solving
I
a
love it.
market problem and a behavioral problem.